Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Irene? What's up, everybody? What's good? Thanks for joining another week. What's up, Irene? Oh, you got all dressed up. What's up?
I got a date today.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay.
I'm jealous. You got on a t-shirt. I'm over here leather hoodie.
Yeah, I didn't know you was gonna get all dressed up.
So listen, this will happen. You just be in the house looking homeless, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to look homeless today.
Right, exactly. You don't get to go nowhere. You don't get to like dress up or nothing. So yeah, I understand.
It's snow outside. Like,
It's snowing. Oh man, what's up, Madhu? What's up, Amy? What's up? What's up, Chatty? What's up, everybody? So we'll give people a couple minutes to get in here. Let me tweet this out. So you busy right now, Irene? No?
no, I was waiting for this.
No, I'm saying like in general with business. Are you busy right now?
Yes. So
Mhm.
preparing for tax season. This is my first year having other Hannah financial tax offices besides our main office.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
opened up additional offices. So just training them, making sure like all of our software, my SOPs, everything is down.
yeah. Mhm.
Still managing my credit repair team. Um, and I got a couple things in the works for the first quarter
Mhm.
of the year. Like I will be taking over the social media accounts for USC the
For
month of February.
USD?
The month of February, talk about financial literacy, stuff like that. So
That's
just
what's up.
just gearing up. Like I got 90 days worth of Adderall.
Not the Adderall. You got to get the limitless pills from Madhu. What's going on? They not using Adderall no more. They using the legal Addy, the not as strong Addy.
It's prescribed to me. Like
I know, but everybody's off Addy. Everybody's on the limitless pills now.
it's still doing for me. So I do want to try them. My thing is I've tried so many nootropics, and that's what really go and seek professional help. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
let's let's give you these. But yeah, I'm ready. So just managing everything, and this is like first. I think this is my first official year in business that I feel like I was prepared coming into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, like the past 3 years of business, I've been like preparing for the year in the first quarter.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. I usually do that too. I don't prepare at all. I just like I would be moving
so
off
this,
vibes. So.
like we've been gearing up for first quarter
Mm.
since June.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm ready.
Wow. Somebody said blueberries help the brain function.
Just add it right.
I really like, I need that Addy.
I need the
Forget all
hard
that.
like
She need the
running.
strong stuff. All right, yeah. So I think enough people in here. Yeah, did you tweet it out on Twitter?
So this is what had happened. I went live on my phone with my social media accounts instead of my work phone.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't. I don't have Twitter or anything on here.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, cool. Yeah, so let's just get started. So starting out, let me say the intro. My bad. So yeah, everybody, welcome to Finance Fridays. Thanks for joining me again. This week I have Irene, the credit queen, and she also does taxes too. So if you need your taxes done, Irene got you. If you need business credit, you need to figure out what you're doing with your business credit, Irene got you there too, and with personal credit. So if your credit is messed up from stuff in the past or somebody else messed up your credit, Irene, she can get you straight. So yeah, thanks for coming, Irene. And then before we get started too, financial starter kit for all your financial literacy purposes. Check out my book. It's on Amazon. Financial Starter Kit by Bees. So yeah, thank you for joining me, Irene.
Thanks for having me.
What'd you say?
I was really excited to hop on Finance Fridays. Oh,
Yeah, I was excited to have you. So coming up for this next tax season, like what do you think is the most important thing that people need to do or something like people need to look out for because everybody got, stimulus checks, a lot of people got unemployment benefits, like what's something that people should look out for? What is something they need to do?
so this tax season is going to be very, very, very interesting. Because of everything with the unemployment, the stimulus check. I think that there are a lot of people who are typically self-preparers, like people who prepare their own tax that are going to be professional. So one of the things that we really understand is how the tax filing system works.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are an individual or a small business owner or somebody self-employed who typically tax refund, right?
Right.
Maybe because you qualify for like the earned income credit, tax credits, anything like that, look very different for you this year. One reason, if you did receive any unemployment benefits this year, like maybe you actually were laid off because of Corona, maybe you felt like I was going to get more money with the unemployment in a way that I was working anyways. That income that you received in unemployment does not count as earned income.
So it does not count as
No.
earned income, the unemployment money.
No. So if you were somebody who typically, I'm getting back bands because I work all year, I might not necessarily be a high earner, so I qualify for the credit. Maybe I got a couple of kids, so I qualify for the additional child tax credits that you you receive these unemployment. That is not earned income. So
Okay.
that's one. So like being a self-preparer, like once you get on TurboTax or Block online and you get to put in those numbers and it's not looking right, that's fine. Two, the PATH Act. So if you do qualify for type of credits, the earned income credit, the additional child tax credit, there's a federal law that says the IRS cannot start processing your return. Does not matter if you transmitted it January 2nd. They do not start processing those returns until the middle of February. Why? Because any tax documents that are issued to you are also issued to the IRS. So that's how the IRS system works. It's
Right.
checks and balances. So if you issue me a 1099, you have to issue that same 1099 to the IRS. If you issue a W-2, you have to issue that same W-2 to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the fraud with the refundable credits, as far as the IRS, comes in the additional child tax credit, the earned income credit. People use it. This will be my fourth year preparing taxes, and I've seen some stuff like people using fake W-2s, claiming kids ain't got no business claiming, claiming educational credits that they do not qualify for, that you did not get a 1098 for. So with the PATH Act, since legally any tax documents that you have, any 1099s, any W-2s, any 1098s, anything pertaining towards unemployment, retirement, anything like that, those documents legally have to be transmitted to the IRS no later than January 31st. So this year they changed it to February 1st. So one day, we got one additional day. So once they have those forms in the system, that's when they start cross-referencing these tax returns that have these credits on it. So if I'm a taxpayer and I received 2 W-2s this year, I claimed the additional child tax credit or the earned income credit. When the IRS processes my tax return, they want to make sure that the W-2s that they have in the system on their end is what I filed on my tax return. So if I left off any W-2s, if I left off any 1099s, anything like that, them holding those returns to not be processed until the middle of February gives their system time to do checks and balances.
Right. Yeah. So that makes sense. So it's like it's funny. It's kind of like when people be like, "Oh yeah, I have my special tax person. They give me a lot of money back at tax time." And I'm like, y'all don't realize that y'all are just committing fraud, right? Like that's all they're doing. Like,
They're playing with your numbers. Like, so as a professional preparer, when you come to Hannah Financial and we prepare your taxes, at the bottom of your 1040, it's going to have our firm information. It's going to have the PTIN number, which is basically your tax preparer identification number that's registered with the IRS. It's going to have all of that identifying information to let the IRS know who prepared this tax return.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs
Yeah, and that stuff comes back, and people don't realize that. Like, it comes back to whoever messed with your numbers to make you get more money back, and it comes back on you too.
So here's the thing, though. People who are professionally preparing taxes, like people who are registered with the IRS as tax preparers, they're not playing with your numbers, because we know whatever we put on this tax return, I'm going. This is responsible for this tax return as you are as a taxpayer.
Right.
So anytime people that are marketing like, oh, I can get you back like all of this extra money, they are preparing your taxes on TurboTax. And since TurboTax, H&R Block, Tax Act, USA, these are self-prepared platforms, right?
Right.
So legally, no paid preparer can use those platforms to prepare your taxes. It's
Oh,
also
okay.
a service for those websites. And when you do transmit that return at the bottom of your 1040, if I use TurboTax to prepare your taxes, it's going to say self-prepared.
Gotcha. And you will get in trouble because you can't legally use that. Yeah.
Credits, if I claimed a business, I know you didn't have a business. If I did any janky stuff, that's coming back completely on you, because my personal information is not on your tax return. I think we're going to see a whole lot of that this year, especially because of all of the unemployment and everything. So I've had people ask me like, well, do I have to file the unemployment? Yes, you do.
Right.
If the IRS is going to get that 1099, you're going to get sent that 1099. You have to claim that taxes. When you file for unemployment, they asked you, do you want us to withhold tax information or do you want us to withhold taxes from this income? Right. If you decided to not have them withhold taxes, you're going to owe those taxes when you file.
Right, exactly, yeah. So, and it's the same thing too, where it's like some people are like, I'm not going to send that in, but they already got it. Like, so even if you got like interest from like your bank account or whatever, I still put it in. Like, it probably doesn't affect your return at all, but I still collect all those documents and I still upload all of them because, like, I mean, they got it.
It doesn't like significantly reduce your tax bill or your tax credits. You just not filing that form on your tax return can be the reason why your tax forms or your tax refund or
it's taking longer.
It's taking longer than it should.
Right. So basically, people, whatever forms you receive, 1099s, forms from any stock brokers that you use, like Robinhood, WeBull. A lot of people is trading this year, so you're going to get tax forms from all your stock brokers. You're going to get tax forms. People who have mortgages, you're going to get a mortgage tax form for the interest. I forgot the exact number, but you're going to get a tax form from that. You're going to get tax form from all your bank accounts if you got interest. So you just need to make sure you collect all that.
Without like any withdrawals, you're going to get a 1099-R. So you're going to get those tax documents. So don't. You want to do like Q&A at the end of the live?
We can do it during. Okay.
Don't use Turbo. If you're preparing your own taxes and you are comfortable preparing your own taxes, be my guest. But just know that with self-preparing like your own taxes, you don't get professional assistance. Like the past couple of seasons, I've had people call into the office, hey, Irene, I had a question about my taxes. And I'm like, you would only have this question if you were attempting to file your taxes. And you don't get quick questions answered from tax professionals if you are self-filing your taxes.
Right. So that's the thing. So if you're filing your taxes, you need to know what you're doing, right? Like you can do it, but you need to know what you're doing. If you don't understand these forms, you don't understand these documents, go to a tax professional.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't understand how to do it, go to a tax professional. And like there's nothing wrong with using TurboTax or H&R Block or anybody like that. It's just you need to know what you're doing and definitely don't mess with the numbers. Don't play around with the numbers.
Yeah, like 110%. You need to know what you're doing.
Right.
What else? And
I would say, let me say something real quick. If you have a business, make sure that you are using a CPA and a professional tax preparer. Like if you have a business, you have no you have no really need to be preparing your own taxes. You should not be doing that because you don't know all the deductions you can get. You're not that in depth. Like all that crap you see on Twitter, like write off your whole lifestyle. That's all BS. You should not be writing off your whole lifestyle. A lot of that stuff is probably not a write off, and it's going to hurt you in the long run. Like you write off all this stuff and you show that you've been taking losses every year. Good luck getting a loan with your business. Good luck trying to get anything with your business.
Anything with your business. And then being strictly self-employed, like when you try to go do anything, like if you try to get a mortgage,
it's
if
a
your
wrap.
credit, if your credit not that great, you try to get a car and you're self-employed, they're gonna want your tax documents. So if you on paper you say, hey, my business made $300,000, but I wrote off $270,000, you're saying that you only made $30,000 in your business. Nobody's gonna work with you making $30,000 in your business. So that's a reason why you should not be self-preparing, and do your due diligence. Like I think as consumers, prior to me getting into the financial space, like prior to me becoming a professional tax preparer, I had to like set my head like, oh, I need to find a CPA. Somebody, I think I tweeted like 2 weeks, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that you don't have to file your taxes with a CPA. And in all honesty, most CPAs do not file individual tax returns. Right. If you've ever went to school for accounting to become a CPA, you don't take any individual tax prep classes in undergrad. They don't cover individual tax prep on the CPA exam. If you are a CPA who does know how to prepare individual taxes, it's usually because they've started their own individual tax firm, right, and did other to learn how to prepare individual taxes. But preparing individual small business and self-employed taxes are very below the CPA's grade level. So like most CPAs do extensive forensic accounting. Accounting and tax prep are not the same thing. They do corporate taxes. Filing corporate taxes and filing individual taxes are nowhere near similar to being the same thing. And most CPAs, like especially if they work with a larger firm, in their contracts, their employment contracts, they cannot prepare individual taxes outside of their firm.
Okay.
Which is why, so when I say like most CPAs don't prepare taxes, that's why. Like they fry much bigger fish than individual small business and self-employed tax returns.
Okay, so who do you recommend that like small businesses and self-employed people and people who just have like just W-2s go to?
Come into financial. But outside of that, you can actually look on, like we file in all 50 states. You can actually go to the IRS website and look for electronic return originators on the IRS website. So if you have somebody that's like, oh, I'll prepare your taxes, if you want to see if they're an actual like registered preparer with the IRS, you can actually look that on the IRS website.
Yeah, this is all public information. So like I said, stop going to those people who they're going to give you more money. Like, and then something else I heard of, like I heard people filing exempt all year and not ever paying taxes, and then going 3 years, no taxes paid because they've been, put in exempt on a W-4s, I guess.
I don't understand why people don't feel like they have to pay taxes. You live in America. We've been paying taxes since the beginning of time. Like, that's not nothing new. And I tell people all the time, the tax code was not set up for individuals. It wasn't. It was never created for individuals to benefit from the tax code, which is why individuals pay a lot more taxes percentage-wise than Amazon, Google, Facebook, Hannah Financial. Like there's a reason for that. So
the tax code was basically made to promote like business growth and to promote businesses to help out the economy. So it's like
essentially the idea of the tax code is if we give tax breaks and tax benefits to businesses, that in turn will help stimulate the economy and employ the people.
Yeah, exactly.
But what we see now is like these huge conglomerate businesses. Like when the tax code was originally written, we never
thought businesses would get this big.
Walmart, we didn't have any super major corporations that the tax code would even apply to.
So somebody asked, Somebody asked, do you recommend them paying quarterly or during tax season? Said they owed it the last couple of years. So are you just an individual or do you have businesses? Hey, what's up, Ryan? Happy Friday. So for individuals, I mean, you just need to if you're owing money usually as an individual, that means you need to well, they changed
Adjust
the
your W.
W-4s. Yeah, but so what
It's,
about the W-4s? Like they've changed it a lot. So it's much harder to keep more money in your paycheck now. Now you actually need a professional.
they want you to do calculations and
Hmm.
everything. So like, I just been telling everybody withhold at the single rate. If
Yep.
you overpay, if you do end up overpaying, which you will, depending on your situation, if you
Yep.
do end up paying, you're going to get that money back when you file your taxes.
Right, right. Exactly. So, but before they change the W-4, I would always tell people, you can always like people would always do like the withholding of like two or three or something like that, depending on what it was, right? Whatever your allowance is.
They know, like, are you working additional jobs? And then they
Mm-hmm.
want you to like add up the amount of people in your household and then multiply it by something. Like people have been calling me and have been like, Irene, I'm so confused. And I'm like, hey girl, withhold at the single rate. Because on top of that $7,000 you got coming back, you gonna get back all that other money that you overpaid. Like, it's okay.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think now is definitely just better. Just withhold at the single rate. Because if not, like I was saying before, you're going to need a tax professional. You're going to need a tax professional to be able to calculate those numbers for you. And I really think that's why the government did it because, the government's in so much debt. So how can they get more money to be able to lend out, do whatever they want with throughout the year, make the
So
W-4 more complicated and take more money from the people?
the IRS was closed for 90 days. So the IRS was closed from the middle of March until August 4th.
Hmm.
Um, like they did not, the final department in at the IRS did not open back up until August 4th. So I think it's funny that the IRS put out like this article saying that they're going to be auditing like 50% more of businesses and their investors to see like who is really doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as like filing taxes. It's like how do y'all have the manpower to do that when y'all we have tax clients that we file taxes for in February whose tax returns are literally still sitting outside of the IRS in semi trucks. Like,
Right, but I don't know if you saw, but they hired 300%. They increased their labor by 300% for
yeah,
this
but they
next
are.
tax season.
So it's like y'all were understaffed, then y'all closed for 90 days.
Right.
And it's crazy because I knew the IRS was not opening up no time soon. So as a professional preparer, if I need to call into the IRS for anything, I have a completely different department to
Mhm.
call than like a regular taxpayer would.
Right.
would
Yeah, you'll be on hold forever. Like I
yeah,
make my CPA handle all that because I'm like, I am not about to sit on
as a
hold for
like
5 hours.
it's a whole nother department. Like we
Yeah.
we we get great customer service. Like they answer with a smile,
Hmm.
everything. Um, the taxpayer lines had closed, and when the tax preparer lines had closed, I was like, oh, that's when I knew Corona was real because the IRS does not close
Right.
for
At
anything.
all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the government, they were making sure that their employees were safe. So
Mm-hmm.
they had to close everything down. They
And
had to
then
shut everything down.
IRS work remotely because it's the Internal Revenue Service. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, yeah. You can't do stuff like that
Yeah,
remotely.
like
It's all PII. It's
yeah,
it wasn't ever developed or designed to be done outside of the actual
at,
government building.
at all.
Yeah, so somebody just asked the question, what do you recommend for trading losses?
So, my niche client for tax prep are individuals, small business owners, and self-employed. I have not had any, I think I've had three people who really
What trader?
are were traders, but I have a CPA that does corporate taxes. That works with Hannah Financial. So anytime we get those returns with like people that do trading or anything like that, she handles those returns.
Yeah, so if you have trading losses, you want to do what's called tax loss harvesting. And you should look it up more, but basically what it is you sell your taxes at the end of the year. to make sure that you lock in those losses. And then you just have to buy a different stock. It can be a different stock within the same industry or within the same sector. And then you just buy a different stock, and then that's how you harvest those tax losses. But definitely look up tax loss harvesting if you're trying to like save money on your taxes because you took a big loss.
Right. What being
And then
said, I'm not there. I prefer
it,
to have people on staff that can handle those unique tax situations.
situation. Yeah, most people aren't trading. That's what I'm saying. Like, so with a lot of regular people getting into trading this year, you know, they know nothing about what to really do tax wise. So
Right.
I recommend a lot of people probably are going to need professional help because they don't know what to do. But yeah, look up tax loss harvesting and really just look up like stock tax advantages. And really that's why a lot of people don't need to be trading anyway, because you're going to be paying short-term capital gains tax on all your stock trades that you profited on. Versus if you held your stocks for a year, you pay long-term capital gains tax, and which is much cheaper compared to short-term. So that's why I really don't like to trade. I'd rather just hold longer because you don't have to pay taxes. So building out a long-term portfolio, you're not paying taxes on it until you sell.
Stocks scare me. They do. They scare the hell out of me. So I invest my profits or my money into real estate.
Into real estate, right? You understand it more. Real estate is much easier to understand than like stocks when it
Yeah,
comes
and
to
I've
taxes.
like taken a few stock classes, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. I need to, and I like being able to see physical stuff. Like
Yeah,
before I or after I got dressed, I went like riding, looking at my rentals, like, hey,
looking
rental.
at them, just checking them out.
I can feel it. I like having tangible assets. Someone
Right.
had what are the top 3 things small business owners should be taking advantage of that most aren't?
So
Read.
like tax advantages.
Um, really just understanding that anything that you have spent money on to run your business is more than likely something that you can deduct on your tax return. Um, a lot of people ask me like, "Hey, Irene, I had to buy this software, and I don't know if I can deduct this on my taxes. Was it for your business? Like, what you buy the software for? If
Right.
it was business related, 9 times out of 10, it is something that you can deduct. And what deductions are, so basically, if say I made $100,000 in business, right? Say I came out of pocket $40,000 with payroll, software, advertisement, like running Facebook ads, running Google ads,
Mm-hmm.
rent for my office. What else? If I travel for work, like my car is in my business name, so
Can
that's
you talk about that?
yeah. So one, you're not getting a car put in your business name with business credit if you don't have solid personal credit, solid business credit, or previous purchasing history under your business.
Mm.
So when I got my car, 2000, when I get that Mercedes, 2018. Yeah, 2018.
You can keep going.
Um, yeah, when I got my car in 2018, I had to co-sign for my car to put my car in my business name.
I didn't even know they
However,
did that. Yeah.
yep. However, because I did that, I can now write off gas for my car. I can write off insurance for my car. I can write off my lease payment for my car because those are business expenses to help me operate kind of financial. And
So,
I can prove that these are business expenses. One, the car is in my business name, and
mhm.
two, my company, like my lease payments, come out of my business bank account.
So I have a question. So when it comes to writing off cars for your business, do you recommend people get a lease, or do you recommend people lease it, or do you recommend them buy it tax wise?
I recommend. I always recommend leasing.
Hmm.
Some people don't like to lease. They're like, oh, like they tell you how many miles you can drive. You can get a high mileage lease.
Yep.
Like you you can get a 10,000 miles a year, 12,000, 15,000 miles a year. And I don't believe, me personally, I don't believe in buying depreciating assets. So I'm leasing my car, right? My lease payment is $764 a month. If I would have purchased that car, my car note would have been a lot higher, and I would have had to get a car loan for $75,000 versus I think my initial car loan was for like $30,000 to cover my lease.
Right.
So it's like, why would I make that $75,000 commitment? Especially because I've never had a car longer than 3 years. Like 3 years has been my max. Like, my lease is up on that Mercedes in November of next year, and I wish it would have been November of this year, because it's like, I feel like I done had it too long. But if you are in a position to lease, you do have to have better credit to lease than you do to buy, because since you are renting, you're basically renting a car from a dealership long term. So once my lease is up and that car goes back to the Mercedes dealership, they have to like maintenance the car, get it back ready to sell the car, right? Versus me going to buy that car. Once they get that $75,000 from the bank, like whoever I finance it through, they're done with it. Like, they don't got to do nothing else or worry about nothing else to take the car. So of course they want to make sure whoever that they're leasing their cars to is somebody that they consider as responsible. And people with more favorable credit, the numbers have just typically shown, tend to be more responsible consumers.
Right. And when it comes to taxes, I think business-wise, the most sense it makes to buy a car tax-wise is that there's a IRS deduction for if you buy a vehicle, like the truck deduction. If you buy a truck that weighs more than, I believe it's 6,500 pounds.
Yeah.
That's the only time, in my opinion, that it really makes sense to buy a vehicle for your business, is if you're using this deduction. But you only use this deduction. People that use it typically have made like $500,000 or $1 million in a year. Like, it really, in my opinion, like if you're doing something for business, it makes more sense to lease it, especially if you're not making a $500,000 plus a year. Let me look up exactly what the number is. I can't remember.
You know what else I see a lot? So a lot of like, I remember a lot of wealthier people, like they have like CPAs and like bookkeepers. They do tax planning all year. So a lot of times during like the top of fourth quarter, their CPA, bookkeeper, whoever, tax preparer, they'll tell them like, yo, your tax bill for this quarter, because typically people who do pretty well in business prefer to pay taxes quarterly. Whoever does their tax planning will tell them like, hey, your tax bill for this quarter is looking at about $40,000. You need to go spend some money in your business.
Right.
So this is why you see a lot of like little business owners or whoever buying cars at the end of the year, because they're trying to their tax bill coming, like they know that they have to make that purchase before January 1st for them to be able to write it off or do whatever they want to do for the following tax year.
Right. And then you'll also be told like, hey, you might need to buy a house or you need to buy a property to lower your taxes. So those are two things that people need to be aware of. Like I said, when it comes to the business taxes and business deductions with cars, it's called the Section 179 deduction. And basically, if the truck has to be at least $25,000 and weigh at least 6,000 pounds, and you're able to deduct off the entire purchase.
Yeah, they deem that you can you're actually doing work with.
Yeah, actually doing work with it. So even if you're like in real estate and just using it to drive around to your properties or whatever, like it works, but it has to meet those specific requirements. You know, it mainly just has to be 6,000 pounds and weigh at least 25,000, and then you using it for business purposes. And I guess you have to buy it all cash too, because that's the reason why you're trying to deduct, you're trying to lower your taxes.
Right out, you can't finance it.
Right, exactly. So like I said, like it's higher level stuff. So when people talk about, oh, financing cars makes sense for a business, not for most people. Like most people online, it does not make sense. Like you're much better off just leasing, and you can deduct the entire lease payments.
And if you get real savvy, you can lease a car in your name and like draw some contracts to lease your business.
To your business, exactly.
As long as as long as your back end stuff, like as long as your paperwork is together, if you ever got audited and the IRS was like, well, we want to know what this card is for, if you show, hey, I leased this card to my business, like your ass is covered. Can you deduct miles gas from doing Uber? Yes, you can. That is considered a business expense of doing Uber. You can also deduct if you had to get new tires for your car, if you had to get your car serviced. Depreciation for your car. Like it's a lot of stuff that you can deduct as a Uber or driver.
Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. Yeah, so that's the thing too. So that's something else that a lot of people are going to get hit with when it comes up to taxes for 2021 coming up. So a lot of people have been driving for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, but they don't pay taxes. You know, they're 1099 workers and they don't put money aside for taxes. And I think a lot of people are going to get hit with big tax bills that they aren't prepared for. So definitely make sure you're filing your deductions. So, and to file your deductions, you need to be keeping track. Like you can't just guess like, oh, I think I spent $2,000, $3,000 on gas, or I think I drove 25,000 miles.
Again, accounting, bookkeeping, and tax preparation are three different things. If you are somebody who is an Uber driver or a Lyft driver and your books are not in order, which means you do not know what your expenses are, you don't know how much you pay for gas for the year, you don't know how much you paid for getting your car service for the year. If I have to go through your bank statements and do bookkeeping to file your taxes, you are going to pay for that service.
I recommend like people, if you don't want to pay for somebody, check out the Wave app. It's free.
QuickBooks. Yes.
Yeah, but QuickBooks is paid, but Wave is free, so you can.
But it's like you could get QuickBooks for like $10 a month, $12.
Yeah, it's cheap. Yeah,
that's a lot cheaper than you paying $2,000 for bookkeeping.
Yeah,
on
bookkeeping
top of
is expensive.
on top of tax prep fee.
Right. Bookkeeping is extremely expensive. Somebody else asked a question. Let me see. Hold on. So somebody else asked a question. So for tax purposes, is multiple DBAs better or having multiple LLCs instead? I think they're asking if it's better to have multiple DBAs under one LLC, or is it better to have multiple LLCs?
So here's the thing about LLCs and DBAs. None of those are acknowledged as tax houses with the IRS. So whether or not you have an LLC or you have a DBA, you're still going to pay taxes at the same rate at the federal level.
Right. So
like you're still going to pay the tax it's considered being self-employed if you are sole prop LLC or doing any DBAs. The only thing that the LLC helps with is at the state level.
Right. So the way to get around that, what I do, you can file as an S corp with the IRS. So that will help you out. So then you're not considered as like just self-employed. You file as an S corp status.
Registering your business with the IRS.
What'd you say?
I said you can only do that within the first 2 years if you register your business with the IRS. And one thing to keep in mind about filing as S corp or C corp, you are going to be expected to pay your taxes quarterly. So if you are, that's why it's really important to make sure that your back end is together. Like make sure your bookkeeping is together, make sure your accountant is together, make sure your tax plan is together. Because once you I always see people like, oh, you need to file as an S corp, you need to file as a C corp, but they're not telling people you also have to file quarterly taxes.
Look,
like you also
I didn't know that. I had no idea. So that's something.
Yeah, it's so much more to it than making sure. And then because it's a corporation, you're supposed to have yourself on payroll. So if your S corp C corp makes $100,000 a year, how much of that did you pay yourself? So
and you have to pay yourself. It's illegal. Like you have to pay yourself. I believe it's to like what, at least 20. It's a livable wage. They said like a reasonable wage.
And then you're still going to pay taxes
on that wage. Yeah. So it's crazy. Like, so I have a CPA, but they didn't tell me anything about that. So just like how you said, that's why I was asking, like, CPAs are good, like you've been saying, but you still need somebody who really does the tax stuff, because I got a CPA and they never told me like, yeah, you need to be filing quarterly. But like I asked her.
Most CPAs, no offense to CPAs, like they're not tax preparers. Like they're doing much bigger financial financial work
Right.
in whatever they do.
Right. So somebody asked what's a DBA. So a DBA is doing business as, and it's basically like whatever name you use. Like, so let's say you just have you're yourself and you want to start a business or whatever, you can have a DBA and it's just doing business as. So like you could say I'm doing business as um I don't know, let's say your name is Robert, like Robert Corporations or something. Or you can't use corporations, but like Robert Bakery, whatever. Like that's your DBA.
You can also have DBAs under your LLC. So
Yeah.
if you decide to have DBAs under your LLC, you can only do that if the DBAs that you are doing under your LLC are things of nature. So,
So related to the same thing as your main LLC.
yep, yeah,
So somebody just said, been reselling on eBay up $10,000 in 3 months. How do I do my taxes? I think you might get a 1099, but you might want to talk to a tax professional just to make sure. What do you
yeah. I'm
think?
how eBay does.
What their
You
limits are? Yeah, I don't know what theirs are anymore. I know they've changed it
or
around a
how
lot
how do they do their payment processing? So like when you take,
through PayPal.
okay, yeah. So PayPal, depending on how much money you make,
Mm,
PayPal should do a 1099K. So
mm.
anytime that you process any electronic payment, whether it's PayPal, Stripe, Cash App, Square, I think if you make $19,000 or more in a calendar year, they send you a 1099K.
Yeah, yeah. So if you end up getting a 1099, file it for sure.
Uh,
You're supposed to still file even if you don't get one, but a lot of people don't like because it's not filed with the IRS. But if you want to be completely safe, you can still file those taxes.
because
Um,
if you get audited and they pull in bank statements and you filed that you had, oh, I only made $6,000, but your bank statements say you made $18,000, you're gonna have a problem with the IRS.
right. Yeah, that's what you don't want. You never want to have problems with the IRS. Like it's not what you want at all. Those are the people, they gonna get their money every time.
Regardless, okay.
Yep.
And you know what's crazy? They made any changes with the IRS system itself the past couple of years. So typically, if you leave off like a 1099 or a 1099K, that usually don't catch to you when I say a few, like at least 5 years.
Mm.
So this actually happened to me in 2000 for tax year 2018. And I will be covering this in the webinar that I'm having January 3rd. Shameless plug. But I got a bill from the IRS last week for $4,000 because I had a 1099 that I got from Stripe for my photo booth business.
Mm.
Completely forgot about it. Did not put it on my 2018 taxes, and yeah, they sent me a tax bill. It was like, you said you made this amount of money this year. The forms that we got determined that was a lie. So here's the bill, pay us our money.
They
So
gonna get their money.
yeah, the system, like the changes that they made in the system, is catching up a lot faster than they used to be.
Mm.
So yeah,
That's technology for you.
and I never thought that I would see today. I never, and it's crazy because I ended up finding that 1099 like 2 months after I filed my taxes for 2018,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to fix that. I'll worry about it in a couple of years. And then when I got that bill last week, I was like, oh, okay, look at y'all.
So somebody, Trail, he said, "What's up, Trail?" He said that the PayPal limits for 1099 are $20,000 and 100 items. You have to cross both of those before you get a 1099 with PayPal.
Okay.
So that's good to know. And then I think your name is Tay. So she said, let's say you made $300 or less. Is it absolutely necessary to report it to the IRS?
Are you reporting any other income? I report everything. Some people say like if it's a $600 threshold, but I know if you've made more, if you made $600, like with an employer, they're gonna give you a W-2 for that. Like legally, they're supposed to give you a W-2. So if you work somewhere for like a day and you only got paid for that one day and it was less than $300, you might not get a tax document for it. Um, I'm very big on integrity though, so I'm not going to tell you to not file any income that you've received.
That's good advice. So
Yeah.
Somebody asked, does IRS charge interest?
Yes. They also pay interest. So if you were entitled a refund and the IRS closed for 90 days and did not give you a return in a timely, your refund in a timely manner, they will also pay you interest on the money that they did not refund you.
Okay, and then we got another question. So somebody asked, what should I do about collections on my credit report?
You should realize that you owe whatever you owe unless you file it in bankruptcy or it's outside of the statute of limitations. And I
So
don't care what whoever told you in the shiny suit in the state of Georgia told you. If a collection agency has your debt, they own that debt legally. Nobody is going to buy debt from the original creditor if they cannot legally collect on that debt.
right. So let's get into that. So let's talk about some of the false things that people talk about on Instagram specifically, because I see it so much on here. There's so much bad information. I don't care how much money they're making. It's a lot of bad information that they're giving out. But
People
yeah, let's talk about that.
People buy what they want to hear instead of the truth. So
Right.
if I'm somebody who has a ton of collection debts and you tell me, oh, well, if you buy this course, I'll show you how you don't owe that collection debt, people buy into that shit. That's why there are so many people out here who don't have faith in like legal credit repair, legal financial services, because there are so many people out here with their shiny suits on and they rented cars selling y'all bullshit. So the whole debt collection industry is a very legal industry. And I like to tell people, like, you have to think, why would this person be in business, right? As a restaurant owner, I'm in business to sell food and make money, right?
Right.
Somebody in debt collections, I'm in business to collect on debts to make money. If I could not legally collect on that debt, like if I did not have like the legal backing to collect on this debt, I would not be buying this debt and attempting to collect on it. So the idea that you can run up a debt and because the original creditor wrote it off as a loss, that, oh, I don't have to pay the debt. No, that's not how that works. Over 90% of wage garnishments and judgments are issued to third-party collection agencies. So 9 times out of 10, like even for your student loans, for instance, when your wages are garnished because you have defaulted on your student loans, it is never from Nelnet, it's never from Navient, it's never from your original servicer. It's always from the collection agency that they've sold your student loans to. Who legally have the right to collect on these debts. So please stop buying into people telling y'all bullshit. The only time that you can run up something, get a judgment, let a credit card get charged off and not be legally responsible for it is if you include it in bankruptcy.
Yeah, so people, you have to file bankruptcy to not be responsible for any debt that has been sent to collections. That's the only way. So you got to file bankruptcy.
Like,
Huh?
that's I said, or pay it. And a lot of times,
Right.
like, even through credit repair. So we tell people all the time, credit repair is the process of removing, inaccurately reporting, and unverifiable items from your credit, right? We tell people, once we remove these items, you are still legally liable for these items. Nothing has to legally be reported to your credit reports. Nothing. The only thing that has to legally be reported to your credit reports are federal student loans when they are first dispersed to you. But collection accounts don't have to be reported to your credit. Credit cards don't have to be reported to your credit. But them not being on your credit report does not mean you don't
have
that.
to pay it anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the common myth. People think that once you dispute it and then it gets taken off, you're not responsible. Yeah, you don't own. That's not true.
They can still go to the court and file a judgment. And if you decide to not show up to court, guess who's going to win that judgment? That collection agency that you disputed that came off your credit, that went to court to collect on its debt. They can still garnish your wages, garnish your bank accounts. Like, they can still do all of that without that account being on your credit. The only thing removing it from your credit does is ideally help your credit score. And you need a good credit score to be able to do whatever you want to do with your credit. Go get a house, go get a car, get a new apartment. Why does collection decrease your credit? Because it's a collection account. Like
Yes.
it's a debt that you have not satisfied.
Yeah, so collections hurt your credit the most. Like you can get one thing go to collections and it could drop your score by 100 points. So
Mm-hmm.
credit is made up of like 4 or 5 different categories, and the ones that hurt your score the most is collections and late payments.
Yep.
And then after that is like your credit utilization. So if your credit cards are maxed out, your score is going to be low. If you get collections, your score is going to be really low. If you keep paying late, so that's over 30 days. So you get a bill for something, the due date comes, and then you don't pay for at least 30 days, that hurts your score. And then it goes 60 days, 90 days. You don't want that on your credit. So that's like the biggest thing. So people ask, like, what's the best thing to do with your credit? Pay everything on time. Don't let anything go to collections. That's
And
really all you need to do.
something does go to collections. So this is how the whole debt collection process works.
Mhm.
So I'm not on American Express because American Express does in-house collections. I'm Capital One. I'm Capital One. Bees had a credit card for $1,000. She ran off. She ran off on the plug. She ran off on me, y'all. So I either wrote the debt off as a business loss and sent Bees a 1099-C, which is a tax document, or I wrote the debt off and sold this debt to a collection agency, right? Now, since I sold it to the collection agency, the debt originally was $4,000. Federal law says, regardless of how much the collection agency bought the debt for, they can legally collect for the $1,000. They can't charge interest on $1,000. They can't charge you any additional late payments on $1,000. If Capital One sold this for $1,000 to X, Y, and Z collection agency, this is all that they collect, all that they can collect on. Now, the reason that credit repair is an issue is because there are a lot of collection agencies, one, that are not getting the necessary paperwork from the original creditor to validate the debt. Two, they're sending debt collection letters to consumers with illegal wording in it. They're charging illegal interest rates. They're charging additional fees, things of that nature. So when you go through the credit repair process from a reputable company, these are the type of things that we are looking for to challenge this debt to get it removed from your credit. It does not remove your obligation to the debt, anything like that. So if you are in a space, you have collection accounts, you know you need to settle them. I always tell people collection agencies are very productivity based. If you have worked anywhere that is productivity based, everybody want to hit their numbers at the end of the month. You know you got a collection account, you in a position to settle it, call that collection agency. Tell them, hey, I want to negotiate this debt in agreement that you will completely remove this account from my credit report. Why do we want people to do that? Because when you add, so the way that the credit scoring system is set up, anytime you have an adverse event happen, you have a late payment, you have a collection account added, your credit score is built to eventually age out of that negative event. So when you add new activity to said negative event collection accounts, now your score, the scoring system, the algorithm is going to think, oh, this is a new collection account because it has new payment activity to it. So if you are in a position to negotiate these debts, call the last of the month, tell them you want to negotiate a pay per delete. Nobody legally has to report debts to your credit reports. There are a lot of collection agencies that will negotiate a pay per delete for you. There are a lot of collection agencies that will not negotiate a pay per delete. Legally, they're not entitled or they don't have to give you that option, but you'd be surprised. Like
They
you
do
got
it a
people,
lot. Yeah,
yeah, they
I got it done. Hmm.
because they still want money. Like if that debt that I sold, that $1,000, I probably bought that debt for $200, right? If Bees tell me she'll give me $400 to settle the debt, guess what? I just made $200, and I'm gonna remove this from your credit. That's how that works. Nothing, nothing on the collection agency end is like,
Groundbreaking.
yeah, groundbreaking or nothing like that. Like
Yeah.
you can actually go and look at federal debt laws that show you that debt collection is very much so legal. So yeah,
Yes.
stop
So the
being
thing about
gullible
that, yeah.
and buying
Stop listening to these Instagram
yeah,
people.
because it sound good. Like
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's like so when it happens, when you're negotiating for these debt payoffs, pay for delete, it's honestly it's really not that hard, right? You could just call them, tell them, hey, I'll pay this off if you remove it from my credit, but I'm only gonna pay it if you remove it from my credit. And I that happened to me once because of some crap in college, and I did that, and they took it off my credit. Like we settled for a price, and they took it off. We settled for like half of what they were trying to get, and they end up taking it off. So another thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about the trade lines. So
Okay.
we had this conversation before about FICO 10. Personally, I think a lot of people are going to implement it because if the economy ends up crashing, this would be the best thing that most banks will have is this FICO 10 because it can predict what your credit usage will be. It can predict like what have you been doing in the past, and it can see if you have a trade line that you just got added to last month, but now it's showing that you
Right.
got 10 years worth of trade credit age. So what do you
So,
think about people buying trade lines and people who sell trade line accounts?
so because most of the referral clients that I get come from mortgage lenders,
Mm,
I do not recommend buying trade lines for anybody. I tell people if I can't recommend it to Pete, I'm recommending it to Paul. So buying trade lines and attempting to get a mortgage, because mortgages for the most part are federally insured, that is mortgage fraud.
I
And it's not going to be a realtor that tells you that. It's not going to be your mortgage lender or loan officer. It's going to be the person that's underwriting your loan that you don't even have the opportunity to have a conversation with. So,
I keep
and they're
trying
not
to
going
tell
to ask,
people that.
yeah, they're not going to ask you, um, whose accounts are these. They're just going to look at your credit profile. And if it's not something like, oh, this is my sister's account, or this is somebody's account that actually lives in my household that could possibly financially be responsible for this line as well, you're going to get reported.
Yeah, yeah. So
Or they're,
like,
yeah,
mhm.
or they're not going to close your loan.
Right. That's why I keep trying to tell people. I'm like, yo, this trade line, buying trade line stuff, that's dead. So
It's a
you
very temporary fix. And a lot of times, like just because you're buying somebody else's credit history, there's no guarantee that you paying $700 for a trade line is going to increase your credit score.
right. And then on top
And
of that too, once you stop paying them, like whatever y'all agreement is, if it's not gonna stay on your credit forever, it's very temporary. It's coming off as soon as they remove you as an authorized user.
it's
So I
coming
mean, it just doesn't make sense. You are much better off if your credit's not that good. You're much better off getting a secure credit card, starting
right.
how you supposed to build your
Or,
credit up.
or signing up for credit repair. Like people want
Yep,
instant.
or sign up for credit repair.
You didn't ruin your credit overnight. Repairing your credit is not going to be an overnight process. And credit repair is a team sport. I tell people to do this all the time. If you are not willing to do the work that's necessary on your end while you're going through the credit repair process, don't sign up because you're not going to get the results that you want.
Okay, so we have a couple questions I didn't answer. Let's go back and answer these. So, somebody asked, interest accumulated by collections, is that illegal?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, let's move to the next one.
If you send,
So
if you scan that letter and email it to me, I'll send it to my FDCPA attorney, and we can file a complaint and get you paid. It's like fifteen hundred
so
dollars a violation. So we cut a check for like $100 to cover attorney fees and stuff. I mean $1,000. I'm sorry.
so reach out to Irene if somebody is got your debt under collections and they charge you interest. Definitely reach out to
Don't
Irene.
tell me about your situation. Scan the letter and send it to me. If you send me an email and there is no attachment to it without that letter, I'm not going to respond to your email because y'all be emailing to have conversations. I don't want to have conversations. I want to make money or help you make money.
So somebody asked, what about business trade lines? I don't own the business, but I'm being mentored by the owner. So I'm guessing you're trying to get onto their trade lines. I mean, again, that's the same stuff. Build your own business credit. Build your own business credit. Build your own personal credit. I wouldn't be relying on anybody else. I mean, it's not going to last forever. Y'all keep
Nope.
trying to finesse your way to good credit and finesse your way to do this and that. just build it up. It takes time, but it doesn't take as long as some people think. Like it doesn't take as long, maybe like a year, 2 years max. Like you'll be fine.
Yes, request a letter. You need the letter because it'll give you. It should break down like whatever they got going on, like whatever they charged you. It'll have it on there, and I can forward it to my attorney. Is there a minimum amount of money your business should be bringing in before you start working on building business credit? Nope.
Yeah, you can build business credit immediately. Basically, and then how you would build business credit, get some business bank accounts. You can get some business trade lines. So a lot of people recommend like Uline, Granger, stuff like that. Try to find the ones that actually report to the business credit lines. I'm not going to say everything because Irene has how to build your business
Yeah,
credit. So if you
business
want to
credit.
know how to build your business credit, buy Irene's product. How much is it now?
So the business credit blueprint, I think, is like $97. If you
Okay.
are unfamiliar with how business credit works at all, I would definitely start there.
Yep.
I do offer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Credit Suite, but I'm a VIP partner, so I can get you the Credit Suite at a much lower rate than is listed on the main website. Um, but I would only recommend going the Credit Suite route one if you are in a position to drop a band or two for Credit Suite because it walks you through literally step by step building your business credit, getting you funded, all of that. Um, but if you are not and like you are very, very, very new to the business credit spectrum, I would definitely start with the business credit blueprint.
Yeah, yeah, definitely get that so you get your knowledge up. Like, stop listening to all these scammers and stuff like that. Get your knowledge up, get the right knowledge that you need because business credit, it's not that complicated, but there are ways that you have to set it up properly for your business credit to actually work well. So I get the information from good people, somebody who's very knowledgeable. So somebody else, they asked, how do we get it off our credit report and should we pay the whole amount if it's already gone to collections? I think we
No,
already answered that.
yeah, you can negotiate pay per delete, and you don't have to pay the full amount.
Okay,
And
somebody, yep.
they can find a with the gift of gab.
So
What's the
somebody
difference
asked,
between your credit report profile? Those are one of those things that are like used interchangeably,
yeah, so
but
credit
they're typically
report, credit profile is the same thing.
yeah.
And basically your credit profile is just like, all right, what kind of credit cards do you have? Have you had any car loans? Do you have a mortgage? How old are your credit accounts? So it's just like your credit profile is your entire like credit picture. That's really all it is. Your credit report, same thing. They just call it credit profile. Let me see. So somebody said, I received a letter from a collection agency a few months ago. It showed up on their report and dropped it by 119 points, but I think they said, but now it went away. Then it went away. I don't know. I can't see the whole question.
Oh, it probably got sold to another collection agency.
Oh,
So
that's not good.
yeah, when that new collection agency gets it, they're just gonna re-report it to your credit.
All right. Somebody asked, how much does it cost to file bankruptcy if you want to get rid of all your debt?
So one, you have to qualify for bankruptcy. Um, if you just feel like I got these bills and I just don't want to pay them, that's not how bankruptcy works. Like you have to be able to prove that you are not financially in a position to pay those bills. And how much it's going to cost for you to file bankruptcy is going to be dependent on who files your bankruptcy.
Okay.
We don't
And
do we don't file bankruptcy, so you just
you have to
really
go to a bankruptcy specialist, like somebody who actually does bankruptcies.
find a bankruptcy preparer.
Hmm.
So you can either have an attorney or somebody who can do bankruptcy petitions, do your bankruptcy. Um, or if you do like a lot of research, you could file on your own. But just know that if you have any questions or anything and you do it on your own, you will not have any assistance with anything. So I would definitely recommend making sure that you file with an attorney because if you do have any issues, you'll have that attorney expertise to be able to make sure that you square it away. And if you file bankruptcy and you fuck it up, like there's no removing that from your credit because I fucked up my bankruptcy.
Yeah,
So
don't
I,
do that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. If you need to file bankruptcy, hire a professional. Y'all need to stop trying to do everything for free. Start hiring professionals. Stop trying to do everything for free. That's what professionals are for. Let them do their job. You know, you need to file bankruptcy. If you need to have your credit, if you need to fix your credit and you need it done like professionally, hire a professional. You know, I wouldn't mess around with your credit report. You got people out here doing credit repair who aren't professionals. They'll just go and file a dispute on literally everything. And just like Irene said, if you have new activity and that does not come off, now you have another 7 years for it to fall off your account. So you just don't go disputing everything. You need to have a professional doing your credit repair. Stop trying to do everything for free. I'm trying to tell you, just save up the money, get a professional.
It's gonna bite you in the ass.
It is going to bite you in the ass, and you're just going to wish like you have. Damn, I wish I would have just paid so and so. I wish I would have just paid Irene to handle this for me, and I wouldn't even be dealing with this anymore. So, yeah, like just people, we need to learn as a community. Start paying professionals. Um, Somebody said it's not a question, but somebody said they just love your integrity.
Thank you.
Ooh, somebody said, do you have? Ooh. All
Oh
right.
God.
Somebody said, do you have a I got scammed by Harvey special? I need that. Look, we've been trying to tell y'all he's a scammer. We've been
Oh,
telling y'all he's a scammer. Stop messing with him.
oh.
That's all I'm gonna say. But hit up Irene, please, if you got scammed by him.
Cares. Handlefinancial.com. So on top of me, knowing a thing or two about this credit thing, I own a almost 7-figure credit repair company that I started in 2017. Handlefinancial.com. I have a full-time service team. You sign up, we send disputes out monthly. We send monthly updates. You can also schedule a monthly credit coaching call. So typically when you sign up for credit repair, like some people, they'll send you monthly disputes. When you get your monthly updates, you can actually schedule a call with one of my credit specialists to go over your credit progress from the previous month. We'll tell you, yo, your credit utilization is looking a little high. You need to bring that down. Boom, boom, boom. Answer any questions that you have about your previous update, anything like that. So, and we send all of our letters certified now because the post office is on the verge of mental breakdown. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna answer a couple more questions because we're going over on time. So we'll be on here for like 5 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, put it in the question box and we'll answer a few more questions. So somebody, Reek, he asked, if Goodwill letters do not work, is there another route to remove late payments?
Find an email for the CEO of the company, email them a sob story as to why you are late. That is only going to work if you have one, maybe late payments, or somebody who is chronically late. Goodwill letters or emailing the CEO will not work. You just need to get your payment habits. But yeah, that's a tidbit. I like to email people, and then they forward it to who it needs to be forwarded to. And if it's a really good email, you will have that late payment removed.
Okay,
To
so
be
Kurt,
clear,
oh,
oh, sorry. Go ahead. How long does it
okay.
typically take for cards to report on your credit? Depends on sometimes 30 to 45 days. It just depends on when their reporting date is for the new credit card and when you obtain the new credit card.
So somebody said I'm gonna just go ahead and ask: is there a Bees Finance Friday discount? Do they get a discount for listening to Finance
Oh,
Fridays?
there is not, only because our
Y'all about
cost
to
of
be
operating.
slammed.
Listen, our cost of operating went up because we started having to send everything certified, and because we rolled out these monthly coaching calls, which means I had to add additional labor to our bottom line. So currently, no, there
No,
are
no
no
discounts right now.
yeah. And I think when you run discounts on services, it's like you're getting the same level of service as the people that pay full price. No.
Okay, what about a discount on the business credit blueprint or any of your other educational like? What about that?
Yes, I can get if y'all DM me or B's, I'll send y'all a discount code for the business credit blueprint. And I may or may not be running a special on the business credit suite next week.
All right, so y'all heard it here first. Let me see. That's going to be too personal. So let's see. Let's answer this one. So to be clear, if you've already paid off of collections, are you able to dispute it?
You have the right to dispute everything that is on your credit report. Will it come off? Depends on what your reason for dispute it is. But again, please keep in mind, disputing means you have an error or you are challenging the validity of this account. People think, oh, I'm going to dispute this because this collection account is killing my credit. No, you have to have a valid reason to dispute something and expect it to come off of your credit.
All right. So Jesse, she asked, what are my options when applying for credit cards if I already have a secure credit card? She said she has a score of 695, but she's still getting denied due to too many inquiries.
If that's the only credit card you have, I would get another secure card.
Yeah, or
And
take
then
a look at Discover. Discover, they pretty much accept anybody. So if you have the Discover It, you can graduate.
don't apply for no credit for like at least 6 months.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, if you got too many inquiries, you might want to chill out. So ask the people who you have your secure credit card with already, are you able to graduate from the secure credit card? Or like I said, try with Discover. I have a referral for Discover. It's discover.capitalsb.com. They pretty much approve everybody. But people have to remember right now we are in a pandemic, we're in a recession. So the
Right.
credit, huh?
Credit crunch.
Yeah, it's a credit crunch. So they're tightening up who they're letting in, who they're letting get credit cards right now. So if you don't need a credit card, I would not be applying for any right now. I wouldn't be applying for any like credit limit increases. You might most likely get denied. So only do what you actually absolutely need right now. Oh, Discover denied you? Yeah, you're just gonna have to wait. You need to wait about 6, 8 months because you got too many inquiries. Um, so someone said, what are some good ways to boost your credit if you're building your credit?
That's a very vague question. We do
I can
credit,
answer it.
but I feel like what I would need to boost my credit might not be what somebody else needs to boost it. So a lot of times I'll see people give open-ended credit advice, and it's like, how do you know that this is what this person needs to increase their score? Like I see, like, oh, get a self-lender account. How do you know I don't already have installment accounts on my credit? Like, how do you
Yeah,
know I didn't need to open revolving credit accounts?
yeah,
So,
yeah. For some
is
general
this
like this, the best boost that you can get if you have a credit, if you're using your credit, maybe something has high utilization, pay it down. But outside of that, we don't really know what's going on with your credit. So just make sure you have low credit utilization under 30%. Make sure you don't have anything in collection, no late payment, stuff like that. Outside of that, it's just time. People try to beat time. Credit is all about time. So make sure you get that age. You cannot cheat time. So we're gonna answer one more question, and then that's it. So right here, this is the last question. Can you get rid of any hard inquiries quickly?
possibly? I need to add that back in my list. I've got an inquiry removal guide that will show you how to remove inquiries on your own credit reports.
Yeah, I
I'll
thought you
put that
still
back
had
in.
that up. What, you took it down?
So it because it was bundled in my Black Friday bundle, and I
Oh,
took the link to the Friday bundle down.
hmm. Okay,
So
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I got to put that back in there.
So check Irene, and then so I wanna say one thing about this for you before we go. With the removing the hard inquiries, if you remove the wrong ones, you will end up closing your account. Chase does this. So if you got a Chase account and you end up closing and you end up removing that hard inquiry, Chase will close your account. So
Yeah.
you need to know what you're doing.
That's
Hmm?
covered in the inquiry removal guide. I put heavy emphasis on do not inquiries that are attached to open accounts on your credit report. So if you have a
Yes.
Capital card and there's a Capital One inquiry on your credit report, that inquiry needs to stay on your credit report. You need to go find another inquiry to play with. Because when they close that account, you're going to be highly upset.
Yep. So general rule, only remove inquiries that, like, say you got denied. Remove those. Outside of that, let it be. It really does not hurt your score as much as people think. Like people are so anal about their score. Like a lot of stuff people care about really does not hurt your score that much.
It's because they use apps and they like, oh, well, these increase. You can have 100 increase on your credit score on your credit report, and it's still going to be less than 10% of your credit score. So if you don't have the score that you want, it's because of the other 90% of what's going on in your credit file. It's not because of those inquiries.
Yep.
Every inquiry moves are. Thanks, Portia.
What's up, Portia? Yeah, so it's like another thing too. People are like, oh, I just opened up a new account. My score is going to drop. Maybe like 5 points. Who cares? Like, worried about the wrong stuff. It does not matter. Like, you're using your credit. That's what it's for. Use it. But, all right. So that's all the questions. I don't want to hold up Irene any longer. Thank you for coming out, Irene. If you need anything from her, it's hannahfinancial.com. And do you have anything else you want to plug?
Download this video and send it so I can post it to my Instagram TV.
All right, yeah, I'll do that. I'll download it for you and I'll send it to you. So yeah, we're gonna head off. We're gonna log off here. Again, if you need any financial literacy help, you lost in the sauce, check out Financial Starter Kit. My book is on Amazon, best-selling book on Amazon. So definitely check that out. Thank you. Was this EST? Yes, Portia. So for you, Portia, it's 2 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Central on Fridays. Yeah, 2 p.m. Central Time on Fridays, 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. Pacific Time, Cali Time. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate you. Thanks, Irene.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks. You too.